Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has finally happened. There is a hard type mod for Ogre Battle 64. And there have been comments in my past videos about how I'm sometimes depressed or sad about this game and this or that, but I will say that I am 95% happy with this mod. It is so refreshing and so fun. I have not played through the entire mod. I have played through the first chapter and half of the second chapter twice. And I will say that there's a lot of changes, and it's impossible to go over all of them right now. I kind of want to get into the game and we can look at some of them, and I can talk about some of the units as we go through. But just to give you an example, well, we can figure it out as we go through. But I will say one thing, because I do want to mention it. Like the dragoon in this game is actually now the best fighter by far, which is as it should be. So, well, I'll just kind of start it, and I could literally talk about an hour or two about all the different units and what they've done and what the changes are, but nobody wants to stare at a screen while nothing's happening. So let's get into the game. I am going to I'm gonna have to figure out what I am gonna start with. So let's do a new game. Let's do a new game. Actually, you know what? Let's load up a game and I'll kind of go over a few of the units with you as far as how things change. So this is my Magnus guy. So the generic equipment for a lot of these guys has changed, and the stat progression has changed as well. So Titus, of course, will get more, or Magnus will get more abilities as he goes on, but his stat change is really basically it starts off as a general. So that is good, and so you don't have to worry about missing out on stats, so you can use them from the beginning. Same thing with Dio. Dio starts out with a stone sword. He starts out with a breastplate. A lot of the characters start out with breastplates. And this is an important thing because a lot of the equipment has been changed. So Knights almost the same, but they have less armor than they did before. Compare that to look at this level 10 Knight, 97 strength, 100 vitality. This is a level 6 Fencer. He has more strength, much less vitality. So Fencers also attack 3 times from the front to start instead of twice. Knights slash 2 in the front, healing in the middle, magic missile in the back. So they are Knights are a great unit, but they're also very expensive. Fencers are like glass cannons, and if you can have them survive to the late game and you transition them into anything else, they will do a lot more damage. Valkyries are basically Knights. They're upgraded versions, or paladins basically. Healing in the front, in the middle, just like the Knights. Cleaving in the front, magic in the back. Phalanxes get plate armor instead of plate mail. They have a lot more. Compare that defense 28 to 9 or 28 to 19. Phalanxes are a lot beefier, get a lot more health. Leia is Leia's her own thing. Let me just see. This is like a modded game because I was fiddling around with stuff. But so here's another fun thing. So this is Troy. He starts off as a cataphract. And I haven't modded him or changed him at all. Like, this is his base stats. He starts off as a cataphract. He attacks 3 times from the front, so what this means is that you don't have to upgrade him. He stays good the whole game, and you can keep his special sprite. And his hallowed shield. Let me look at, and I just wanted to kind of go through a few things because it's kind of exciting, but let's go to his hallowed shield. Look at the strength and the vitality and the resistances from this now. This is actually like a special shield for him. Okay? So that's like his special item. We'll get there soon. Let's look at some Seraph. So, Deodora. She has Deodora's Song, Noisha's Promise. But look at those stats. The stats for Seraphs are insane. They are close to one of the best units in the game. Obviously, these were cheated in. I actually was not able to beat one of the levels. I could technically beat it within the bounds of the game, but it felt really silly to do that. So let's look at Gilbert. So Gilbert starts out with a Scourge of Thor. Instead of just having 2 item slots, the bottom 2, which normally he wouldn't have, which is Tunic and Amulet, those things are added in this mod. He also attacks 4 times from everywhere. Cerberuses attack 4 times. Black Knights still attack twice. Dragoons attack 4 times. Let's look at the Sword of Tiamat. We don't need to, it's going to take, they also have the Needle of Light as a regular sword. They got rid of thrusting swords. So, Noisha's Promise, Stone Sword, Needle of Light, Blessed Sword, all of these are the same thing, and they all add a bunch of different bonuses. Noisha's Promise is nasty. The Sword of Tiamat is one of the only items that actually adds benefits to level up bonuses. I think it's health and strength, but I'm not exactly sure. What else we got? Oh, here's there we are. Cleave up front by 3, Healing and Thunder Flare. For those who don't know, Ronnie was a muse in the original Ogre battle, which is basically a Freya. Tiamat, there's my dragon. Tempest, and there's Ancalagon. Oh, let's look at Aznable. So, Helm of the Fearless, of course, great. Again, I haven't changed Aznable's stats at all, but Fang of the Fire Drake increases health and strength with each level up, and Aznable starts with that, so his strength and his health go up. He has 3 strike from the front now. He starts with a Balder armor. That's part of his natural, I don't know, Flame Flail or... All of this is his base stuff except for the Helm of the Fearless. So you don't have to upgrade him. He's actually better as a... let's actually look. It's listed. He's listed as a Black Knight. So he gets his stats... A lot of the people's stats have been changed and upgraded. So I think across the board, Seraphs get almost 6 per well, let's just check. We can count. I won't save here, but let's just see how much stats she gets. So we got 178 for strength, 170 for dexterity. That's 9 strength. She got 9 strength, that level up, and 10 dexterity. So as far as one of the rarest and hardest creatures to get in the game, Seraphs are definitely worth it. Her stats are buffed because she has Noisha's Promise and Diodora's Song, which are both great. Look at that resistance she has. Balder Golems. The original Golems that we get only attack twice in the front. Stone Golems attack 3 times in the front. Balder Golems attack 4 times. And then, of course, their stat growth is different for each one. Paul has been changed. He now doesn't do damage from the back. He puts people to sleep, which I actually don't care for. Enchanter does like a dark blaze in the back, which I like more. Anyway, Karth will do 3 attacks in the front, and Black Knights have heavy armor instead of Balder armor, but if you compare that to this guy, they only do 2. So Black Knights are still good, but they're actually on par. Like Phalanxes, Swordmasters, Knights, and Black Knights are a lot more even now. Cataphracts will still attack 3 times, but they won't do as much damage. Knights will attack 3 times. They don't do as much damage as Swordmasters. They don't tank as much damage as Phalanxes, but they have a lot more utility as far as healing, doing magic. You know, Phalanx is all damage. Black Knight does a status effect in the back. And that's the other thing too. One thing that makes this game actually hard, the only time clerics will heal is if they're in the front. So that's one of the things that makes this game difficult. Is a lot of the enemies have been changed and are more powerful, but you cannot just put a cleric healer in the back of your unit anymore and just win everything. The game's actually pretty difficult right now, and I am all for it. I tried to go through, and I will say this, just a little bit of spoiler warning, Dardanellus Crossing, where you fight the demons for the first time, the ogres and the goblins. Oh my god. Like, in the vanilla game, you know, who cares? Those things are crap. In this game, you're like, I can see why these things threaten the world. These things were hard. So, let me just check something. I don't know how long is this video going on. Alright, so as in pure fashion, we're 10 minutes into the video without me actually beginning, you know, to play the game. But that's pretty normal. But just generally speaking, a lot of these guys, Dio, Karth, Troy, they either start off as their advanced class, like we got Cataphract, we got Black Knight for Aznable. They could basically have the stat growth of their advanced thing, and then extra strikes or defense. Or, you know, Dio starts as a gladiator, but when he levels up to warrior, his stat growth is the same. So his stat growth is that of a warrior, whether he's a gladiator or not, but he'll get extra attacks and better equipment. Same thing with Titus, same thing with Leia. I like to play with a couple of people to start, because I always play the one particular route. I never can get Karth, Paul, or Bisk, and because of that, I tend to add them to the game. But as you can see, compare Aznable. This is an unmodded Aznable. So all this stuff right here, like this is like, you know, I'm on mission 10 or something, 11. This is Aznable after 11 or so missions. He is a beast. Compare that to Bisk. Bisk is still pretty good, but man, yeah, like Bisk does not break the game. And Gilbert is a little bit of a game breaking, but honestly, Cerberuses become Cerberuses right around level 10 or 12. 10 like that, right around that area, and they're pretty game breaking with a normal beast tamer. So I like to have Gilbert there, but this is the guy that I used to defeat the boss. They had a level 20 ogre that was basically doing 80 damage. Well, you know what? I'll stop whining about all this stuff, and I'll have to figure out. I'm trying to decide whether to start, because here's the thing. I'm trying to decide what army to start with. So normally, I'll just show you right here. We'll close this guy out. So normally, you start with Dio and him, whatever, but I like to start with the knight pretty much always, and then I have to have 3 other people. If I have a doll master and a beast master and this guy, I can basically start with, I can change him to Karth, I can change him to Gilbert, I can change him to Paul, and I'm finding it doesn't really affect the game too much. What really affects the game is if I, you know, change the golems to Balder golems, because that's a pretty unstoppable unit. I just hate waiting the entire game. You basically don't get Balder golems until chapter 3, really, really late, maybe even early chapter 4, so you don't even get to play with them. But the only difference I might do is, instead of this guy, I may get a phalanx, because I might need phalanxes early for training purposes, because the real kicker is going to be, can I beat? I haven't been able. All right, so using, I'll just start the game, and we'll. Oh, come on, baby. Yeah, this is when I go to play. This was like I was trying to beat this without cheating, but it was really close to impossible. Basically, what I needed to do was cheat in the using the whole item hack thing. I had to cheat in a bunch of champion statuettes, and the way you beat that level vanilla-wise is you cheat in a bunch of champion statuettes, then you can like raise someone like Troy or whatever up to level 20. But honestly, even if I do that, that golem can kill anybody in 2 hits. You know, and it's just he'll just wipe out your units. I'll have to figure out something to do with that, but there we go. Let me see. Let me get the class guide up. There we go. Because I need to figure out. All right. So starting out with these guys are good. The only problem is if I start out with this guy, I can't get the Beastmaster in this guy early, although it wouldn't be too hard to do that. This is probably my favorite one to start, just because it's good to start with knights. This is a decent one for the extra fighters. I could potentially even go trainer. Warrior. Yeah. Because then I don't start out with a knight, but I do get you, but then I miss it on the Dollmaster. I don't really care about her. Yeah. So I need the warrior. It's always just good. I get the knight each time regardless. I get a golem really early. They're pretty easy to get, so I'm not super worried about that. That's really just a choice between Dollmaster. And if I do this, then I would basically change him to Fogel. And I could you actually can get Swordmasters pretty early, because all that really is a Claymore. You just need a Claymore and old clothing. And then once your Swordmaster gets going, he's pretty nasty. He still can't survive against the ogres, but I want to try to do a game without cheating, but there are a few things that just make it go a lot faster. Like you need to bump up and get a lot of soldiers built up, and that takes twice as long without the Medal of Vigor. So I may put that in there, and I may get a manual of warfare just so that one of my units can get chaotic quickly, because I do need to have at least one negative, like a chaotic unit. So I'll put you back over here so you guys don't have to look at that. Okay. Oopsies. I need to change that back. So let's get. I always go like 2 warriors and 2 trainers, because then I get the Dollmaster, Dollmage, the Beast unit. One thing that's great in this is that the beasts have been improved as well. So in the original one, Cerberuses and Hellhounds were good, but but they fell off later on. Having smaller units were better. Like if you had to choose between 3 paladins or versus 1 paladin and a Cerberus, the 3 paladins in front are better. They just tanked more, they did more damage. But this has actually made beasts much more valuable. Griffins have the chance to put people to sleep with their special attacks. Worms have the chance to poison. There's a lot more status effects in the game. Oh, damn. Damn it. I'll have to call him back. Well. I'm really bad at making videos. Oh, I don't need to watch that. I do like to watch the I do like to watch them kind of go from the academy and walk all the way to the southern regions, but so there's a lot of ways to manipulate in this, and I'm trying to decide what to manipulate or not. I'm going to try to avoid as much editing and changing as possible. The hardest part of any game, in my opinion, is the chaos frame for your units. The leveling is so skewed towards being lower level that almost every single unit becomes lawful. And we're going to change our guy's name to Titus because I like the Space Marines. And then some of our buddies, we're going to have Space Marine names for our buddies in our group. Titus and... Okay. What dost thou hold within my sword? Let me check what I hold within my sword. Let's do passion. We'll sever silence. Words out there, beseech the gods. Valor. See, if it was normally, I might beseech the gods. Well, I'd beseech them for valor. It's not a bad one. I like most of these selections anyway because I normally pick passion and, you know, what would I offer the gods? I'd offer them something like, I'd offer them glory, or I'd offer them love, but they want this particular army I need to offer them freedom. What dost thou wish for? I normally do fertility for the land, or peace, but serenity is also really good. Let's do, and they want me to rid the land of changes, because that's how I get all the units that I want. I don't like the wind. Magnus is kind of, what's the word? Angsty. He does get a little angry, but I prefer, you can't have Aznable and Dio and Leia be all angry, and I prefer to have most of them be fire. I like the idea of Dio starting out as Earth, though, because Dio, his default weapon is the stone sword, and then it gets upgraded to adamant katana. So I like him to be Earth, Leia to be fire. I like the idea of Magnus as the leader being earthy and finding his power there. Balder Sword, Francisca, Marionette Blessed Sword. Balder Armor. I wonder who gets the Balder Armor. I really like to watch these guys leave the castle and then go to the Southern Division. It kind of adds continuity for me when I'm starting off with the game. I don't really have to watch the whole thing, but it's almost like you're leaving the place that you're trying to reach to at the end. Like this is that castle right there. That's like one of the last. That's like one of the last places you actually go to in the game. So it's like it's almost like the entire game you've gone as far away from home as possible, and then it's such a beautiful game. It's like the right balance between real and cartoony. It's pretty great. All right, we don't have to do that anymore. All right. I probably should have done is just skipped all this stuff and started out with an army. But anyway, one of the things that's really exciting is that this, like I said before, I really don't have a plan when I start any of these things, but this game changes a ton of stuff, and it adds a lot more strategy. As an example, if you're fighting a unit that has a few knights in the front and you do a critical strike on them, normally that's a good thing, but in this game you hit a knight to the middle row, he starts healing himself and other people. It makes certain units much more durable than normal. So that's why you saw in the original thing I had to deal with a unit of 4 knights, because I liked the idea of him, becoming more lawful and finding his freedom and being a good man. And after he saves Magnus, he becomes kind of like your first knight. The way that Yum will ask you to be his knight, you kind of have Dio become your knight, and he's like your right-hand man and knight trainer. Titus. It's always Moneo, Minotaur, and Alex. All right. All right. Let us. Yeah, it's a lot of fluff in the beginning of this game, but you'll. It's kind of hard because I want to share a whole bunch of the things that I've come across and learned as far as all the new things in the game. But I guess I haven't gotten past chapter 2. Not that it's not hard. It's just I didn't get a chance to play through the whole game. I figured I wanted to learn the basic mechanics of how this worked and then kind of do a fresh playthrough. But like every unit in this game, to me, now is useful. That's what's interesting. Like if I was thinking about this because I have a few tier lists for characters. It's not that any one character became S tier or became F tier. It's that because they all improved in certain ways, they are all between B and S. Like nobody in this game is bad. like gremlins as an example, they're not the best units. They die really easy, but you can recruit a bunch of them, and then what you can do is you can use them to like cut the damage or cut the life of certain units in half. They use an ability called Doom in the front row, and maybe that's what I should have been doing against that damn ogre. Just have a unit filled with 5 gremlins, send them in against those guys and have them cut all the life down in half. Then I need to have a unit that puts them to sleep. Yeah, maybe that's what I have to do. Alright, well, I'll have to think about that. But, yeah, no, like, what is it, like clerics now. The only way for them to heal is you put them in the middle row, and then they don't heal. They do heal, but they buff up people's attack power now. So, and they can also go in the back to be a magic caster. So there's a lot of, helpfulness with that. But yeah, no, like the whole meta of having, like, the best unit you could have is basically 3, paladins in the front with a mage and a healer in the back, and then you basically just cut through everything. But now you can't do that, and also with the way enemies are positioned, there's just a lot of units that will, knights don't do as much damage. Phalanxes don't do as much damage, but they're a little bit more beefy. So I don't know. It's just hard to explain all the changes. Like everything's been tweaked and changed somewhat. So, so let's look at our starting army. So there's Fox. I'm gonna change these guys eventually to be. I like to have a unit that's Arthur, that has like some of his own knights, Gawain, Antigone, and then I either have 2 other knights behind him, or I do Guinevere and Igraine for his back row. It's hard to know which. Both of those could be like priests that kiss and buff the knights up front, or you could just have 2 knights in the back, or it's just you only do 2 clerics in the back that are doing magic missile. And then you have Arthur in the middle with 2 knights in the front. It's hard to know. And you've got Bento the Warlock. So, like the Dollmaster people, they still do the buff for golems, but now instead of just attacking ones from the back, they use magic from the back. Yeah, and then their upgraded version, the Enchanter, whatever it is. They basically are like a mage that does AoE magic damage, but they can control golems better. So a lot of fun stuff to go through. And then if we look at Titus, let's equip him with something just to see what happens. So if I give him the Blessed Sword, he actually does magic in the back now, which is fun. Let's look at his stats. 99 and 86, 72. That's not a bad start. A lot more strength than most people. And originally I liked to edit Dio to have Dio have more strength than Titus, but the fact that Titus is Anchises' son, it makes sense that he should have a little bit of beefiness. But, yeah. We definitely need to build up a lot of our soldiers. Also gonna do, the only issue with this one is I usually like to put Titus in the middle or Dio in the middle because they would attack less, and then that would allow you to farm camps, so to speak, a lot better and get more fighters early. But with this situation you really can't, so that might be something that I would do with Bento. Maybe I should do that instead of... I might change him into... I could probably change him into Paul, and then have Paul do Nightmare in the back. What I actually like to do is have Paul be have a base enchanter, and then have the face be Paul, so I still get the character. But we can worry about that later. Let's have you. And do I want him to have... The only problem with this game is let me just go over my one critique with the game. So the problem with the last ogre battle is it was too easy and everyone became overpowered. The problem with this one is it's not that the game is harder. It's not super hard, but this particular mission over here, Dardanellus, I basically would have to either buff people up to level 20 just to stand a chance against beating this mission, or there's some tactics I need to kind of discover about how to beat it. So I like to have a nice, like, part of the game. It's not about winning or beating the game for me. It's about role playing, building your army, creating an army that you like and that you want. Problem is it's like having the variety. So clerics I don't care for anymore. So Amazons, really the only use for them right now to me is Freyas and archers. And I just don't like to have a bunch of units that have fighters in the front and archers in the back, Freyas in the front, Freyas in the back. Like, it's just it's hard to have the right kind of variety. So, and that's the thing, like, if Dio's going to be a knight unit, where Dio's going to be a frontline fighter, and he has 4 knights, I don't want to do the same thing with Arthur. So Arthur would have archers in the back, but I don't know. It's a weird thing to kind of try to sort out. So, but I think I'm going to start the mission, and we're going to have to decide what things we want to do. So this guy is basically Paul. Like, I don't think putting Paul in the game is really hardly cheating, because this guy technically will do more damage than Paul, and their levels are almost going to be the same. Same thing with adding Bisk or Karth, because this guy's levels are going to be similar to Bisk's for a while. Bisk just attacks more times, and like, what's really cheating is if I turn both of these guys into Vad, but then I have the pictures of regular Nerdamese warriors, because, like, Bisk to me is like he's like this freedom fighter that's working to free the Nerdamese warriors. Karth has already left Lotus, so that's something we can work on. I'm gonna have to do a phone call soon, but I need to go here, and we'll get Dio in the party. We'll kind of start the mission, but then I'm gonna have to save and do another video where we start. This will be kind of like the introduction to the game, where we kind of go over everyone's stats and differences. Oh, here's the other thing too, like the Fencer. The Fencer gets like 8 strength. The Fencer, as that unit, gets more strength than a Black Knight now. Black Knights get less strength than a Fencer, which is a very early unit. The Fencer is. Swordmasters get more than the Fencer, like 8 to 9. It's like might be 9 to 10 per level. It's insane. Of course, they have no armor and they just get destroyed if they don't block anything. So that makes a lot more sense. All of the units have a benefit and a negative, and there's a lot more tactics involved, which I love. But it's definitely a whole new world to figure out. So, like, here's the thing. One of the reasons why it thematically makes sense for me if I add Gilbert early on is, like, Gilbert's almost like he's a king from the other land. He's kind of, the Zenobians are starting to scout the southern region and help with the rebellion. And like this map is about beasts, like are kind of attacking in the area. So to me, it makes sense that Gilbert is coming and kind of helping organize the beast to create a disturbance, and then he kind of joins your units after talking to you. So at least that makes sense to me. I don't need to go over this part. So yeah, the beginning of the game takes a good 15 minutes to kind of get through. So we're gonna go through all this stuff. We'll start the mission, but I need to save, and I need to think about whether or not I want to just do this purely vanilla without having. But that's kind of the thing too, is you can't really showcase Bisk, Karth, and Paul, or allow those people without actually getting them. And if you get them, it's unlikely that you get them all. And if you do, you don't get any of the other units, so we can't see any of the game, all of the changes that people made. So yeah, but that's a thing. Truthfully, Bisk, Karth, and those people are pretty much going to be on par with Titus and Dio anyway, because their stats are very similar. But I have to make a phone call after this. I have to poop. My babies are going to wake up. So depending on what you want to get, like, you always do no while pass. If you do all right, the only reason to do that is because you're going for the bad ending, where you want to fight Dio. You don't want to have your father join you. You don't want any of the Zenobians. So it's not like it ruins the game. The big decision is really when you're with Frederick Raskin, as far as what you say. There's a stone sword. The hothead second character. So what I normally do is I lower Dio and Magnus's level to 1, and then I let them farm up soldiers for a while. I think that that's probably too much cheating, so I'll probably keep them at level 4. Because I want to showcase, because I think the game is meant to be played. A lot of stuff has been changed that boosts you and buffs you, so I don't need to change that much to make it playable for us. But all right, so I'm going to pause, save. Let's check out Dio and all of our people. So who did we get? So there's our beast. There's Conan. He'll probably become our Black Knight guy for Karth. There's Dio. So Dio, similar to 79, 69, 87. So Titus is definitely stronger. And that always kind of bothered me. I felt Dio should be a little bit stronger. But so one thing I can do too is I can also basically just edit one of the fighters to be a carbon copy of this Hellhound, so that this guy can actually be used. That saves a little bit of time. This guy, you can get one of these guys, I think, in 1 mission, maybe 2. It's not that, it doesn't take that much time, it's just, it kind of gives you, and it's not necessary. The only reason I do that is because I have severe OCD within the bounds of actually being able to function, and having... I would need to have another one of these guys that's exactly the same level, so all these guys level up at the same time. It's just very important to me. Same thing with this guy and the golems. So, yeah. What I could do with Conan. Yeah, and then I could use Conan and put 4 fighters with him, and then like level those guys up or train them just to get higher, so that I could have 4 dark units to go with either, 2 Black Knights for Aznabel, or 2, Cataphracts for Fogel or whoever. I could change this guy to Fogel, but we'll have to figure that out at some point. I'm not going to have this guy have the Dragoon armor. That is too much cheating, but yeah, the reason I wanted to show Aznabel is because Aznabel's a pretty strong character, but all the main characters are very strong, and you're not really in danger of dying. Well, we'll have to figure all this out another time. I really gotta go take a poop and then make a phone call. So we'll play another time, guys. But hopefully we can get through a nice showcase of this mod. But we will play later.